أعزائي أهلا. Welcome to learn Arabic online with Lubna Dumayan. This lesson will put a beautiful smile on your face because it's one of the simplest grammar rules you have ever learned so far. Verb-subject agreement. The typical Arabic sentence begins with a verb, which is known as a verbal sentence, جملة فعلية. The subject, if included in the sentence, because sometimes it's ignored, we just stay limited with the conjugated verb, which already mention the subject. So normally shows its appearance after the verb. For example, قرأ المدير جريدته اليومية. We have the verb قرأ to read conjugated in the third person singular. المدير, the director, read his daily newspaper. جريدة, newspaper. Who? Possessive pronoun mentioning that the director possesses this newspaper. So the who is the returner. اليومية, daily. Or قرأت, conjugated in the third person feminine singular. المديرة, here this is the feminine version of this sentence. جريدتها, ha, referring to المديرة, is a feminine singular possessive pronoun. اليومية. So you will clearly notice that in both sentences the verb agrees with the subject in number and gender. قرأ, هو, he, third person singular. المدير, singular, masculine. قرأت, third person singular, feminine. هي. So هو, he, and هي, she. المديرة. So there is a explicit agreement between the verb and the subject. If we leave out the subjects of the two sentences, no changes will be made. We'll just have less details about the doer. So to the subjects, bye, we're fine, we don't need you. That's so mean. So, قرأ جريدته اليومية. If we get rid of المدير. So from the verb, we know that we're talking about one male. We don't know exactly who cares, but we know that it's singular, masculine. قرأت جريدتها اليومية. Here we know it's one female. Who cares about the rest? Alright, we are not so curious. Alright, now let's make the subject of each of these sentences plural. What's gonna happen? قرأ المديرون, directors. مديرون is masculine, sound plural of المدير. So we have مدير, and مديرون it's plural. جرائدهم, of course, we'll have a different possessive pronoun as a returner. So whom, referring to the third person, masculine, plural. Alright? So قرأ المديرون جرائدهم اليومية. So we changed the subject to plural and the possessive pronoun from who, third person singular, to whom, masculine, third person plural. قرأت المديرات. المديرات is the feminine sound plural of مديرة. مديرة. So we get rid of the ta marbuta and we add the alif and ta, the sign of femininity in plural. جرائدهن, hunna is the possessive pronoun instead of ha referring to the feminine singular. Here hunna referring to the third person feminine plural. So the directors, feminine, read their daily newspaper. So the subject of each sentence is now plural. Notice that the verbs are still singular, but they agree with the subject just in gender. See? Here, because it would be redundant. We already have a hint about the subject that it is a plural masculine. We don't need extra redundant thing about the subject. We already have the information. So we get rid of the extra. Here, قرأت. Again, here we have agreement just in gender, no number, because we already know al-mudirat is plural feminine. Alright? So in a sentence which begins with a verb followed by a plural subject, the verb will always be singular and will agree with the subject only in gender. You got it. So if a plural subject comes before a verb, so here we switch the order. We love playing with the order of the words in Arabic. Nothing stays wherever it is supposed to stay. So the verb will agree with the subject in gender and number. Let's check it out. Alright. المدرسون اللبنانيون قابلوا المدرسات الجديدات. The Lebanese teachers, male, a masculine plural, met the new teachers, feminine plural. قابل, to meet, conjugated in the past tense, third person, plural, masculine. Why? Because it comes after the verb. المدرسون اللبنانيون قابلوا. If we flip, if we start with the verb, we would say قابل المدرسون اللبنانيون المدرسات الجديدات. But in this case, they have to agree in number and gender. So, if we were to drop the subjects from these sentences, so we just get rid of them, then the verbs would indicate the number as well as the gender. In other words, the verbs would become plural because we know we need information about the subject. قرأوا جرائدهم اليومية. As you see here, we got rid of المديرون. So we don't know about who we are talking, right? So we have to conjugate the verb. The verb has to be in action. We need a hint from the verb. It has to be conjugated in the third person plural masculine, since we are referring to the directors, masculine plural. So قرأوا. By the way, قرأوا may be written this way. قرأوا, هم قرأوا, they read, or قرأوا. Hamza may be seated on the alif. instead of the waw. Both are correct. So here, they read their daily newspaper. But since we don't have the subject explicitly, we had to conjugate the verb to indicate so. Or قرأنا, if we get rid of المديرات, we have to conjugate it in the third person plural feminine. هن قرأنا. هن قرأنا جرائدهن. Again, there is another hint about the subject. هن, the returner. Possessive pronoun هن. Their newspaper. So قرأوا جرائدهم اليومية, or قرأنا جرائدهن اليومية, or قرأ المديرون جرائدهم اليومية, or قرأنا جرائدهن اليومية, or قرأت المديرات جرائدهن اليومية. You have a choice. So far so good? Great. Here we have another example. هبطت الطائرة. Here we have the subject following the verb. So it agrees in here in number and gender. The airplane landed. ثم, then, نزل المسافرون. Here, المسافرون, passengers. It's plural, masculine. So we don't need to, we can keep the verb conjugated in the singular. Third person, masculine, singular. Then the passengers came down. هبطت الطائرة ثم نزل المسافرون. Now, let's check more examples to illustrate different points. ذهب سمير وسميرة, compound subject, إلى المطعم العربي. Samir and Samira went to the Arab restaurant. I will write it, I will change the order of this compound subject. ذهبت سميرة وسمير, I flipped them, إلى المطعم العربي. So what did you notice in here? The verb changed its gender. Why? So you will check if the verb is followed by a masculine noun. In this case, Samir is a male proper noun, proper name. So you will conjugate the verb in the masculine. ذهب سمير. So ذهب سمير وسميرة إلى المطعم العربي. So ذهب has to match with Samir in gender. Here, Samira comes right after the verb ذهب. That's why it's conjugated in the third person feminine, because Samira is feminine. So the conjugation of the verb will depend on the following noun. Alright? ذهبت سميرة وسمير إلى المطعم العربي. Alright? Samir and Samira went to the Arab restaurant. Okay? So, we have another situation which occurs sometimes in Arabic. So here, if the subjects are separated from the verb by words, so the subjects does not get well along together with the verb, and they decide to separate, something is happening. So, if the subject is feminine, the verb can be feminine singular. Alternatively, the verb can be made masculine singular even when the subject is feminine. Note that the option of using either feminine singular verb or masculine singular verb does not depend on the presence of more than one subject in the sentence, like what we've been discussing. So, here, ذهب or ذهبت إلى المطعم العربي. So we have, where's the subject? The subject is not there. We have a prepositional phrase to the Arab restaurant that follows the verb. So when it's the case, you conjugate it in the masculine or the feminine. It doesn't matter. سميرة وأصدقاؤها. So here is the subject. Samira and her friends went to the Arab restaurant. So when the subject and the verb are separated, you may conjugate the verb in a masculine or feminine. It doesn't matter at all. That's singular. Here another example. يتفتح تفتح, the verb تفتح, to bloom, to bloom. يتفتح, it's conjugated in the present tense third person, masculine or third person feminine. يتفتح or تتفتح, and right after we have a prepositional phrase في الربيع, in the spring season. الزهور, زهور is the broken plural of زهرة, زهرة, flower. So الزهور, the flowers bloom in the spring. So you may use both genders, but singular. So you conjugate the verb in its singular form, masculine or feminine, doesn't matter, when it's separated from the subject. Alright? We have an exception. If the subject is separated from the verb by the particle of exception, أداة الاستثناء, إلا. إلا means except. ما نجح إلا عائشة. No one succeeded but Aisha. So in this case, the verb stays masculine. No feminine. Never ever. Just when you have this kind of particle, إلا. Don't forget. إلا. It means except or but. And that's it. Wasn't that so simple? Aren't you smiling right now? Good job. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your questions, for your comments, for your interest, for your likes, dislikes. Thank you. Until then, you miss me and you keep learning Arabic. إلى اللقاء.